So very warm greetings and namaskara from iTech India. I welcome you all to our distance learning seminar series on the topic Capsular Training Program for ICTC counselors. Today we have facilitator from NACO, Dr. P. Sujit, and from SATS we have Dr. Hanumantarayappa with us. So I will request Dr. P. Sujit to give his key remarks to welcome all the participants and give a brief about the video also. Dr. Sujit, are you there?
Yes.
Yes, please go on.
Good afternoon, all. I think that we have the participants of 153 members of this training. So my name is Dr. P. Sujit. I am working as an associate consultant in DSP NACO. So currently I am the facilitator of this session for day one for the training for Capsular training module for the ICTC Council in Karnataka size. We expected around 250 participants over here, but I think that they will be joining in more. So we can expect in and around 250 members in due time. So let me say something about what is the purpose of this Capsular training. So we know that we are working for the for the first 95 target. We have to get an
Dr. Sujit, I think there is some network issue.
Their HIV status.
And where your voice is breaking, so could you switch off your camera maybe?
Is that the capsule aiming to highlight what are. Hello, I'm audible to everyone.
Yes, now you're audible.
Hello?
Earlier your voice was, yes, it was breaking
Hi.
earlier. So I request you to maybe switch off your camera because the network is not very good. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's better now. Please go on.
So let me discuss about the purpose of the training. So the capsule aimed to highlight what are the current gaps and why and how to bridge them so as to achieve the first 95. This training is exclusively for the ICTC counselors, those who are working in STS facilities in all over India and NSAP. The aim is to brief counselors on a strategy for bridging the first 95 gap on risk assessment and blended testing approaches, and to get inputs on proposed revised client flow to optimize the work and enhance efficiency to the ICTC counselors. So first of all, I would like to give my gratitude to our most respected ASNDG and our director Nidhi Madam and our deputy director Shobhini Madam and our Bhavani sir to make an opportunity to the counselor to learning this capsular training for achieving the first 95 gap. So all of us know about, I think most of the counselors know about that their counseling, the counseling part during their pre-test counselings. The same thing we have to more emphasis on our in PPT mode. So once the completion of this training, I think that all the counselors become the more confident on their work, and they will work for addressing the gap of first 95. So once again, I'm proud of my sincere thanks to all the counselors as well as the SACS people and ITech team, CDC, give an opportunity to providing a training module to the counselors. That is all in my side. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sujit. Dr. Hanumantarayappa, would you like to share your key remarks with everybody?
Yes, ma'am. Today training for very important objective is the DLS series aims address the gap in first 95 through enhanced testing and to give an overview of the new client-oriented strategies to ICTC counselors across the country, and their strategy for bridging the first 95 gap risk assessment through blended training approaches and revised client flow, which focus on optimizing the work of counselors to enhance their efficiencies and their work. It is the main intention today's program, ma'am. You can highlight this training in this, you can enhance the knowledge to our counselors in the Karnataka state, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, thank you so much. So before we begin the video, I would like to share with everyone that it's going to be 1.5 hours long. It's a pre-recorded video in English. It's an orientation only. And so you can keep on writing whatever doubts you have from the PPT or from the speakers. And later, after the video is done, we will have a discussion with our facilitators, and the facilitator from CDC and ITech India will also be joining us. So yes, so now I request, and if you have any questions in the meantime, please feel free to write the same in the chat box. So I will now request Kiranji to kindly start the training video with us.
So very good day to everyone who's listening to this. As you all know, at NACO, under the HIV/AIDS program interventions, we are already at the phase 5 of our interventions. And although phase 5 came into effect from 1st of April 2021, we have not yet formally launched. But we do know the various priority areas and the mantras for NACP 5, which are that we have to optimize, we have to rationalize, we have to have value for whatever resources that we put in, and we have to build synergies and break the silos. So with this in mind, we undertook a very short, I would say a dipstick kind of a thing, to look at what is happening across ICTCs in the country. So what we realized is that at ICTCs, our focus was on HIV testing and detection, whereas from the very beginning, ICTCs were envisaged to be the window of entry for the HIV program, even in days when ART centers were not there and when TI interventions were doing their own job in the field. The ICTC counselor was our most important person in the program, who would be meeting the client and providing him a lot of information related to prevention. So we realized that this aspect somehow seems to have been sandpapered away. So to bring it back in the program and bring back the focus on what is lacking, and to also take our steps in the future where we are looking at single window comprehensive service delivery models like Sampoorn Suraksha, and also like having comprehensive management of all comorbidities for PL-HIVs under the existing ART program. So to fit into this picture of things, we thought that certain areas in the program under the basic services division require a little bit of relook and refocus. So the capsular training that you are all undergoing right now is with that intent, where while we are, and this is, let's say, an interim step, because we will be reviewing the operational flow, the technical guidelines for ICTCs and EMTCT and etc. in time to come. But we immediately want to let all our counselors, lab technicians, our focal persons at states, and our DAPQ or DISHA functionaries, as well as all our other stakeholders, on what is it that we have in mind as a future for the ICTCs and PPTCT centers. So the first area is that we need to all remember that the entry point for us is risk assessment. So if especially we have a walk-in client, it is very important to understand what is his self-risk perception and what is it that the counselor finally manages through good counseling skills to take out from him in terms of understanding where he stands. And not just giving him a negative result and asking him to come back after a period of time and not following whether he or she did or did not. This aspect has to be given very good importance, and here probably we need to reduce our focus on those who are referred, let's say, from the same hospital, whether they are inpatients or they are TB patients or they are pregnant women. These are populations who anyways have to undergo the HIV test, and we can choose to focus on the positives. But when it comes to walk-in clients, we have to make sure that we assess risks and we focus on the at-risk negative clients as well. This is the point number 1 that I want to make. The second point is that counseling over years has become a kind of routine activity, wherein we seem to be providing information on HIV and its modes of transmission. We are not really delving deep into it. So we need to improve and utilize the whole range of counseling skills to strengthen this counseling as a means of prevention, as a service in itself. So that is my point number 2, where we need to focus on counseling and go beyond the minimum, what we are doing at pre-test and post-test to encompass all these various aspects, especially for the walk-in client. The third aspect is that we need to, through an at-risk negative or a positive client, be able to delve into the social and sexual networks or injecting networks of people to identify more people at risk and be able to provide them the services. Now, this is not only to bridge the gap in the first 90 that we are seeing in our program, and without the first 90 gap, we will not really be able to make good sense of our remaining 90s. Third 90, which are without reaching the first 90. So I would like to say that, and along with that also reiterate that the ICTC is no longer a location where the person only comes for a test. We need to look at it from a point of view of a place where a person can come for counseling, he can come for condoms, he can come for access to STI, and he can come for a range of preventive services. And this is exactly what we are exploring through the Sampoorn Suraksha model. So that ideology has to percolate across our network of existing ICTCs and PPTCTs. And while we will be doing detailed training for our counselors and lab technicians, this capsule is going to put these things into clear perspective for all of you in advance and to facilitate our forward progress in this direction. So with that, I wish all our delegates and participants all the very best, and I hope that you take full advantage of this capsular module and you are able to provide the services under the program in alignment with what our goals and objectives are.
Good afternoon. As you all know, that today we are doing this meeting to share some of the changes being envisioned under the leadership of ASA Digishwar and Dr. Shobhini ma'am. We all had already heard Shobhini madam and what the vision is regarding few of the newer things we are trying to do for the basic services. So the objective of this presentation is threefold. First, we want to orient our counselors and sensitize them towards the gap of first 95. Although you all are doing it, but still we want to emphasize that risk assessment should regularly be done at ICTC, and which client should be assessed for their risk. That also we will discuss, which will be covered under revised client flow. So these are the three basic objectives. Apart from it, we will share the update on SOCH uses as well as on the stock status apart from the first 95 gap, and also the difference between the HIV and syphilis testing also, that we will discuss, and what are the, in detail, the officers from NAPO and our partners, they will tell about the differential strategy to reach out to the high risk and at risk population and bridge the first 95 gap. So in the current slide, you might be looking at the national scenario, and we can clearly see that there is a gap of 22% in the first 95, and still there is a gap in second and third 95. And in fact, if we want to reach out to 100%, the gap is of 22%. And since last 3 years, there hadn't been a very incremental kind of progress we had seen. And unless until we achieve our first 95, the second and third 95 will always suffer. Even if you reach 90% there, it doesn't matter if your first 95 is not being reached. So the whole focus now for the basic services, for HIV counseling and testing services, should be on bridging this first 95 gap. And today not only we will show in the few slides what are the proposed strategy, but we welcome the ideas here. So the current slide, you can see the 3-year comparison of the achievement of first 95, and we can clearly see in the descending order the states are being arranged, and there are states where still the achievement is below 68%. State like Chhattisgarh, Odisha, Haryana, it is just above 50%. In the next slide, if you can see, there are few states at the bottom like Meghalaya, Andaman, Arunachal, Puducherry, Assam, Manipur, where the gap is huge. Almost half, more than half the population who are PLHIV we have to identify. And there are also states like Telangana, where 3 years back the achievement was 75% and now it is 67%. So this is really challenging to understand why we are not able to achieve this gap. And in fact, in few of these states, partners are there, TSUs are there. So we have to see. And whenever we talk about gap, the first argument we hear is regarding estimates. That estimates are not right. Although it may happen that in the smaller states, estimates may fluctuate unevenly, but still, if there is 50% gap, then at least there is some scope of achievement. And if we openly think that we want to do it, today we will discuss the strategies for that. So in the current slide, the gap of PMTCT need in Bihar. EMTCT, today we are not going too much into it. Madam has already highlighted that we propose few strategies to bridge the gap in EMTCT also and reach out to all the positive pregnant women. And our special focus is on prong 1 and prong 2, especially the known PLHIV women who are going to be pregnant. At least we should reach out to them. And when we see the whole load, almost 25 to 30% of known PLHIV who are already in our network, who are regularly taking on and off taking medicine of CST, they are getting positives. So that gap we can always plug. In this slide, that gap is being shown for the districts of Bihar. So in 5 states, what we are doing in Bihar, UP, Rajasthan and Maharashtra, that district wise strategy we are trying to build along with our Global One partner Sathi and Plan, and we will try to implement it and see if some significant changes can be made. In the current slide, you can see the gap. There is a bar which shows the number of tests being done, and the percentage shows the gap. Like in the denominator is HIV testing. So against HIV testing, what is the gap for the syphilis testing? So they are, you can see huge gap in few states, like 76% gap in Bihar, 26% gap in Gujarat. So there are a couple of states only which are shown. So for all the states, you should look into it. And if you ask at NACO level, what we are doing is, we had already revised our TRGs. So very soon, this dual kit approval we are taking to a TRG for the approval of dual kits procurement at the central stage, central level. So that will help us to reach out to more population and test as and when required. Although in last couple of months, the SOCH uses has significantly changed from 24% to 54%, but if we want to go forward, the vision of our DG sir is very clear that he want a paperless ICTC. Soch is there, and still if we fill 100 columns in a register, that is useless. Now under leadership of Shobni ma'am, we had given you money to buy computers, even for dongles, net connectivity, whichever states are asking, we are giving you the resources. So please try to mitigate this gap. Ask your counselor to regularly use Soch. We are also, in the coming slides, we will come to the revised client flow. So we are also doing, we know that if a counselor is looking 20 to 30 clients in a day, Soch, I personally went to few ICTCs and I had seen, if the pre-counseling part is considered, it hardly takes 3 to 4 minutes to fill it, and then the post-counseling part takes a bit more. For the positive clients, negative clients, this is also not that much. So we have to encourage counselors to use Soch. Also, a common observation regarding Soch not being used is that counselors are not being trained. If you really open the Soch, there is a LMS module there. It is a learning module, self-learning module, and it is so good. If your counselor open it and step by step start doing the exercises there, I am sure the counselor and lab technicians won't need any kind of classroom training. So please ask them, and from Madam's desk, DD Madam's desk, we are very soon sharing a letter regarding that all counselors and lab technicians should submit their certificates, and then only maybe the yearly that appraisal we can do, that can be linked with the certificate course, that will help us in the Soch usage, because SIMS is not is going to absolute very soon. We are not updating it, and there are regular issues on the site. It broke down, so somewhere we have to stop using SIMS and shift to Soch completely. And few states are doing very good in this. We can see in Gujarat now almost 70 to 80% of TIs on and off are using Soch, so it is not challenge. Goa is using. So there are states, Karnataka is there, which are where Soch usage is quite good. So these states are doing good, and we expect that other states will start using Soch. So thank you.
So basically, if you look at the current roles and responsibility of counselors, I go back to the guideline which were released in December 2016. Many of the things are mentioned there, and all the counselors have been following it in spirit. So if you look at the type of clients at the ICTC, I'm sure this is something which every one of you would be aware about, and the counselors relate to this particular chart, wherein there are different types of clients which are mentioned in the guideline, and these are the priority population for us as such. It says that these are the priority population, but we, through this meeting, we intend to change a bit, and we what is it that we intend to change, we will discuss in the next few slides. So basically here, if you look at, if as a counselor, if I look at it, I also feel that the targeted intervention, the population registered at TI, it comes at the 9th number, right? So that's my perception also. So there could be different perception for different people when they look at it this list. But this is something which suggests that which are the priority population for the ICTCs. And it includes all the possible clients, all the possible population which could come to the ICTC. So if we look at the counselor, every person who is stepping into ICTC, suppose they are supposed to take a consent, and then with the confidentiality norms in existence, they are supposed to pre-test them. That is, all of them have to undergo the pre-test counseling and the post-test counseling, display of the IC materials, and then those who accept the testing, they have to undergo the testing and then follow up with respect to that. Now these are various things which a counselor is supposed to do. But again, I would say you introspect that how many of this is being followed. Are they being done? Are they being complied? Or people on their own, they have prioritized out of this, or in the name of doing everything, are they missing something? So I'll request for the next slide. And then there are issues with respect to HR also. So basically, we intend to reduce the load of counselor basically. So that's the intention that, yes, for sure, we cannot provide any additional HR, for sure. So how best we can reduce the load at these high load centers, that is something that we need to discuss upon. So if we look at the client flow at current client flow, the ICTCs, they are supposed to provide pre-test counseling and post-test counseling to everyone who is willing to go under the test. So they are supposed to be assessed for their risk, and accordingly they are supposed to follow this logarithm which is mentioned on the screen. This is expected from the counselors for each of the clients stepping into ICTCs. But my experience, except few of the spots, has not been so great with respect to my mystery clients across various states. I felt that there have been various fallacies and gaps with respect to the quality of counseling at various centers, whether it was a high load or a low load center. So it's not that we visited only the high load. In our visits, we have tried to cover different types of centers, and with respect to different populations also. So basically, when we follow this current logarithm, we also understand that there are population like non-TA population, virtual population. There are people who are in their adolescence and youth who do not identify that they are at risk or they are vulnerable to get HIV. So that is something, a population which is kind of missed at these centers. Then the STI patients, which as per the guideline and as per our earlier communication, all of them should be tested at ICTC, but then there are gaps with respect to their testing as well. So apart from that, then there are serodiscordant couples. Generally, we any couple who any partner, whether spouse or partner, when they are tested, they are just tested once generally, and they are not being followed up on a regular basis. What is their status for HIV? So this is something which we tend to miss. Then what about the new partners? Whether their risk are being assessed? What about the LFUs? What about the PLHIVs whose viral load is not coming down? So that also suggests that either they are not adherent to their drugs, or they are still involved. There are PLHIVs who are showing the symptoms of STIs as well. So that means they are still involved into high risk behavior. So are we testing them again and again? So that is something which are there, and that's the population which we intend to lose in this in the current logarithm. So there are centers where there is no client load, and there are, if you look at the national level, I would say there are only 500 or 600 centers which actually have the good number of client load, that is 10 or more than 10, not more than that. So rest of the 5,000 centers, they are showing less than 10 clients, and many of them, almost 2,500 centers are such where there is less than one client per day, or even there is no client. We are talking about client initiated person, right? So there is a possibility that we could use the human resources placed in those centers to the high load centers. Now, how do you do it? We leave it to you. We would like to see this in the AAP discussions. So basically, what we are trying to do, we are trying to focus on that population which is most at risk for us. We do not want to spend time on every client, on every person stepping into ICTC, but we want to prioritize that. So why do we want to prioritize? Because we want them, we want the counselors to spend more time with those who are actually at risk. Not for those who are coming, let us say, from the surgical ward for being tested for the operation. No, we don't want to spend that much of time on that fellow. So for us, there are prioritized population, and we want to focus on that. We want to focus on how do we encourage the person who is coming to ICTC, that he brings in more partners, he brings in his spouse to the center for testing. So are we able to do it today? If we are not able to do it, then there is some skill which is missing or not being used properly. So we need to give that appropriate message to that client and also to their partners or spouses. So basically, all these things we are doing so that we can actually reduce the load of the counselor and divert that particular time for the one who needs it the most. So we have used this thing in our Sampurna Suraksha strategy as well. The same thing has been used there, and we want to replicate that for all the ICTCs basically. So now I would invite Rajiv, who is leading the Sampurna Suraksha strategy at NACO and who has been discussing with you also, wherein there are certain centers which have been prioritized. But at the same time, as our ASNDG in the last meeting said, that we want to actually implement this Sampurna Suraksha strategy at all the ICTCs in the coming years too, not only ICTCs but also at the DSRCs. So I would invite Rajiv that how best we can use this risk assessment in these ICTCs. Rajiv, over to you.
Thank you so much, sir. And good afternoon to everyone who have joined to us in this meeting. Now I'm just discussing why this risk assessment is important. And initially, as I also worked into the basic service division for almost 3.5 years and spent a lot of time on that, what kind of client is visiting to the ICTC. As we have seen in one of the slides that we have prioritized the population where the pregnant women are there, where the newborn babies are there, then there the STI client are there, there are the TB clients are there. So we have given the prioritization into that, but somehow we have seen that in the SIMS as well as we have bifurcated two type of client which is coming to the ICTC, standalone ICTC. One is you are very well aware of that provided initiated, and another is the client initiated. So that risk assessment in terms of client initiated is very important, as we know that if someone is coming willingly to the standalone ICTC, that means that person, he or she or might be X, like has perceived some kind of risk and has gone in some vulnerability of the HIV risk assessment. So such kind of client is considered into the risk assessment part of the SOACH that we have inbuilt. So there are the issue into the implementation of the SOACH even, but prior to the SOACH also, when we are using the previous method of counseling registered as well as into this standalone ICTC, we know that we have a counseling registered for the general individuals for HCTS standalone facilities. In that particular registered, as we know that we all are knowing that all the states persons who are looking after the basic service divisions and DSRC, they are very much know this point that under the column number 13 they used to fill up the know what kind of the risk that particular person is perceiving. So to understand this particular slide, where I'm taking these 2-3 slides about the risk assessment and importance of the risk assessment. So the first, to understand the client risk of exposure to the HIV, as well as I consider for the STI, if I'm taking the DSRC into this also, and to plan the risk reduction strategy for the client, that how we can reduce the risk of that particular client, and to help the client receive the type of service that are the most appropriate to their situation and needs. So it is like patient-centric or client-centric, not the patient-centric, the client-centric, and the service should be given as per the need of that particular client. As Irfan also mentioned in that, and Dr. Tiwari also mentioned particularly, that we are that lagging behind, or we can say that there are the gray areas of those who are at risk and negative. So the follow of such kind are client are still we are not very much concentrating them, or we are not very much the counselor is very much not comfortable to reach to them and follow up them after this their result being considered as a negative. So unless until we have positive, so obviously that person come into the our program and link to the ART center. And indeterminate result, if result is indeterminate, then also we usually call for the follow-up visit for after 14 days. Sir, but those who have been at risk and considered as negative and found as negative, so the follow-up visit is still the gray area for all the standalone ICTC counselors. The question to be asked by the counselors is, as we know that this is being inbuilt into the SOCH itself. So there are the 5 questions we usually ask into the SOCH, and most of the basic service divisions personnel at the SACS levels aware about this. So these are the 5 questions which we considered as profiling the risk of the particular client who is visiting to the standalone ICTC by own. So do you have, the first question is, do you have the habit of using, sharing the injecting drugs? So where we ask that whether used, shared or no, and refuse to answer. It could be anything like, and refuse to answer is also one of the questionable things, that why the person is refusing to answer this. Then the second question is, what kind of the sexual partners you have, that in this also that male, female, TZ, and no sexual partners or refuse to answer. So this will depend upon that the the client which is coming to the particular standalone ICTC. If the particular client is male and saying that kind of sexual partner is male, then obviously we should consider into it the homosexuality into part of that. Similarly, for the TZ as well, as that if the person is choosing like himself is a TZ and for the sexual partner is a male or some others. So all this thing has to be recorded into that. Then do you have any sexual relationship beyond your spouse and partners? This is the questions again we are asking, that whether yes, no, and refuse to answer. No, obviously, okay, then in that case, and refuse to answer is also the questionable, that how the rapport has been built by the counselor to that particular client. Then the fourth question that we ask, have you bought sex in the past for a man, woman, or a TZ using money, good, favor, or benefits? This is another way of asking that whether that particular person is going into the high risk or not. And if there, then what kind of the high risk behavior that particular person is profiling. Then have you provided sex in the past in exchange of money, good, favor, or benefit? This is yes, no, and refuse to answer. These are the 5 questions, the basic minimum question that counselor has to ask for all those clients which is coming with the their own, or what we say the self-initiated client, or any client which is may provided initiated even, but having some kind of symptom of HIV. That means that particular patient has been referred from the general physicians and having some kind of risky behavior, or having of symptom of HIV or AIDS, what you can say is that. So these are the things which we are supposed to ask, but as you know that there are the hindrance into the what we say that usage of SOCH, as well as sometimes the portal is not being used, and then if the client load is very high into that particular standalone ICTC, again that making entries into the SOCH is a difficult task itself. But still, those who are maintaining the record into the counseling registered, as I mentioned earlier, and Dr. Govind Bansal sir has also mentioned that we need to refocus our pre-test counseling into different strategies, like which kind of client is coming to the standalone ICTC. Accordingly, we have to frame and design our time frame for that particular client, that how much time you have to give to the test counseling. So considering all those things, and as well as that if taking the registered column number 13, that what kind of the risk behavior, whether the person is heterosexual. In heterosexual also there are the number of things that has to be asked by the counselors. So such thing has to be there into the counseling itself. So these are the few questions that we have to note it down for our risk profiling of that self-initiated client. And it is very much important if you want to convert all our DSRC and integrated counseling and testing center, that is HCTS facilities, standalone HCTS facilities or confirmatory HCTS facilities into the Sampurna Suraksha Strategies Center, Sampurna Suraksha Center, you can say in terms. So these are important things that has to be considered by the counselor, as Govind sir has also mentioned into that the mystery clients have been visiting. All those mystery clients have been considered into the self-initiated because they have gone as a self-initiated client only. So what kind of counseling that they received at the end of the by the counselor, and as well as the testing procedure, that how much time it has been taken, when the report will be given, that what kind of rapport is building by the counselor to the that mystery client or not. So all these things has to be taken into the consideration while we are while we are profiling the risk behavior of a particular self-initiated client. So this is for who comprising this at-risk population for this Sampurna Suraksha strategy is that we as I briefed earlier also, that the population at risk is for HIV STI is defined for the any individual who is at risk of acquiring HIV and STI due to the risky behavior of self or the partners. So both has to be considered or taken into the account. So at-risk population include that all HIV negative self-initiated client at ICTC and DSRC with their risky behavior. HIV negative but at-risk client identified through the population on virtual outreach or NACO helpline. The another important juncture or another important population that we have to include into that. Then the social and sexual network of the individual mentioned above, all those mentioned into category of first and second, their social and sexual network, as well as youth and adolescent of all the genders who are at risk, and HIV negative spouse and partner, what we call as the discordant couples into that. And then the population of virtual platform with the risky behavior. We mentioned it is into the second point as well as. So these are the client which need to be focused for the pre-test counseling. That is very much important. That what we want to highlight. That otherwise that pre-test counseling, as Dr. Preeti mentioned, that we can go for the group counseling, or we can create the FICTC and all other things that where we can reduce the client load of this particular standalone ICTCs. So all these things are important in terms of risky profile of the risk behavior of an individual in terms of creating the Sampurna Suraksha center of that particular ICTC or DSRC. Thank you all, and thank you, sir. So it's over to Dr. Govind, sir.
Basically, we are talking about how do we want to revise the client flow. So we have seen what's happening currently, and now we will see what exactly we want to do. Basically, we have tried to categorize all kinds of clients into these 4 categories. So the first is ANC or pregnant women. Second is inpatient referrals, whether they are from the TB or PD or from surgical wards, whatever. And then there are third category, which is from the NSCP facilities generally. And then there are others who are not falling into these categories. They will fall into the 4th category, which is the most important for us. So now the demographic details, all these details will be taken from all the clients, irrespective of which category they are falling into. If they are falling into the first 3 categories, their HIV testing will be done based on if they are positive, they will be linked to the RT services. If they are negative, they will be done some kind of soft counseling. Sometimes it's a group counseling, and you can decide like if there are more people from the in referrals, then a group counseling can be done for them also. But basically, what we want to do is, why we are doing this, because they are at low priority for us. At the same time, they are being counseled in some way or other. For example, if someone is being referred from the NSCP facility, whether TI or LWS or OST or FICTC, they are being counselled at some point of time. So they don't need that kind of intense counselling. But those who are coming on their own, those are coming directly to ICTC, those are coming from STI centers, DSRCs and others, they need concerted efforts. They are prioritized population first. So that means we have to do those risk assessment for them, as Rajiv has explained in the earlier slides. Those who are not at risk, if you still find that they are not at risk, then we will follow the normal logarithm. And then those who are found to be at risk, we will do the HIV testing. Then same. If they are found to be positive, they will be linked to the services. And if they are negative, then there are techniques for risk reduction and linkages to the comprehensive services. So how do we do it? You know about it, but this is what we intend to follow. Again, going back to the earlier slides, we intend to focus on those who actually need it rather than focusing on everyone. So when we focus on everyone, we tend to miss everyone actually, which is what we have seen and you would have also seen during your field visits. So this is something which we are propagating. Now, from here, I will request the CDC to please take over, and if they want to explain it further, and with respect to different flows also, I would request Dr. Sudhir and Mr. Srinivas to from here. Over to you, Dr. Sudhir.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Govind and Mr. Rajiv for enlightening us with the strategies which NACO is coming up with for reducing the workload, as everyone is concerned about the workload of ICTC staff and the entries which they need to do, and lot of pre-test counseling, and lot many clients are coming. So as Dr. Govind has described, like all the clients are nicely categorized among 4 major categories, and here we can easily see, like in this slide only, like we may not need to do risk assessment for all, and likewise there is no need of doing pre-test counseling in detail for each and every client coming to the ICTC. So as Govind had mentioned about these 3 category of people in firstly like ANC and pregnant women and the inpatient referral, and those who are like referred from TI or link worker scheme or OST. So these are the clients who are referred from some point of contact where some of the initial discussion may have happened. Their pre-test counseling, they must be knowing basics about the HIV and its transmission. So they may not be in need of like detailed pre-test counseling. So that's why if we look into the client flow pathway for these 4 category of people, let us discuss first the pathway for the like ANC or the inpatient referral. So when the client will come to the ICTC, definitely it will be some like checklist, and the consent for testing will be there. Pre-test counseling we can do in brief because a person was already given some information in the inpatient or at the first point of contact where the ANC checkup was done, and then just the brief introduction about the pre-test, and then do the testing as per the national protocol. And when the person is like HIV negative, just explain the result. There is no need of like detailed post-test counseling also. If the person is HIV positive, then definitely post-test counseling in detail had to be done. Consent for the contact illustrations and linkages to ART center and other appropriate services has to be ensured. And after taking the consent for the contact illustration and everything, we can do the partner testing or index testing. It may not be like, it's not necessary to be done by the ICTC staff only. It can be done at a later point at ART center or at the care and support center also, based on the practical feasibility and like acceptance of the client. And then the partner of the client can also be contacted, and then pre-test counseling and risk assessment of this partner can also be done. So this is about the ANC and inpatient referral. Similarly, those who are like referred from TI or link worker scheme or OST center, so their pre-test counseling and risk assessment must have been done at TI itself. So they will visit at ICTC with risk reduction counseling and SNM social network model related services provided by TI. They must be carrying their checklist, which was like filled at the TI site. So we will be taking the consent for testing and do the HIV testing as per the protocol. And once the person is HIV negative, then these are the clients who are referred from TI or link workers. So they must be from the key population group. So their post-test counseling and linkages to prevention services will be needed in case the result is negative. If positive, then we need to take the consent for the illustration, contact illustration, and that can be done at TI also. And index testing, partner testing can be done at TI for these clients, those who are HIV positive, but their linkages to the ART services and other appropriate services can be ensured by the ICTC. counselor. And then the partners pre-test counseling and risk assessment can be done at TI. So most of the work for these clients will be done at TI level. We at ICTC, the testing services will be provided and the appropriate linkages to the HIV negative and HIV positive clients will be provided. So whatever like risk reduction counseling for the index case or their partners or the partner initiation services, everything will be taken care by the TIs. Now coming to the direct walk-in clients. So this is the client of concern which we are talking about since morning. So those who are direct walk-in at ICTC, we need to provide a detailed pre-test counseling to them. We need to talk in detail with them. One-to-one counseling need to happen. So risk assessment has to be done at ICTC and pre-test counseling has to be provided in detail. If the result is negative, then the post-test counseling and linkages to the appropriate prevention services need to be ensured. If the result is positive, then post-test counseling and the contact illustration also need to be done at ICTC. Again, I will say like it's not the job of ICTC only to do the index testing or partner testing. It can be done at later on at any psychiatry center or care and support center also, as per the client's acceptability and comfort. And then pre-test counseling and risk assessment of partner also can be done at both ICTC or ART center, wherever it is like possible. So this was all about the different client flow pathways once we like adopt these revised categories and revision in the guidelines. So one thing I just want to mention over here is, you know, we can do the technical part of this. We can take care of whatever challenges our staff is facing in field in relation to the client load or in relation to the entries in source or whatever. But for improving the quality of counseling, what I understand from as Dr. Govind was mentioning, like with the mystery clients sent by NACO at different places, at high load centers, at low load center, both places the mystery clients are visited, and there are observations from both the sides. So apart from the challenges which are genuine challenges shared by everyone from SACs, like client load is high, there are a lot of pre-operative clients and other issues related to data entry and those things. Apart from these, there may be something known as, we can say, like the behavioral challenges. The person is not like ready to, or I will say like the person not motivated enough to work sincerely and dedicatedly for the cause, then whatever solutions we will provide, those will not work. So simply whatever like NACO is providing, that everyone is concerned about all the things, and they are working on improving the data entry and improving the counseling skills and everything. But the behavior is something which need to be improved by person on will and commitment. So that need to be taken care as well. Now coming to the different approaches for bridging first 95, you know, there are we have discussed some of the things in the previous slides. Like there are like those who are HRG group people, so they and bridge population, those who are registered at TI or link worker scheme, so they need to be like continued regular testing had to be ensured for them. So a line list need to be maintained at TI and link worker sites just to make sure like regular follow-up testing is happening for the HRG clients. We can identify sites for the improvement in our community-based screening so that we can scale up to the level wherever like it is needed. If it is like hard and difficult terrains, so we can provide community-based screening to the vulnerable population group, and preferably with the dual kits. Properly risk assessment of the client, those who are like walk-in at ICTC, so their risk assessment is very important. We need to ensure for that. And spouse or partner testing through the as a follow-up or index case, regular testing of discordant couple, and if those who are like not ready to share their partner detail, we can provide them coupons or link them to the social network model. And those who are at risk client, for them we can link them with the Sampurna Suraksha clinic, which is coming up shortly. So HIV non-reactive at risk client can be linked with the Sampurna Suraksha sites for the services which are being provided by the Sampurna Suraksha sites. the package of services which will be provided from there. And then we can think of expanding our ICTC sites through resource optimization. Just make a state-wise list of ICTCs, where our ICTCs are located, where our FICTCs are located, what is the client load of the existing ICTCs, and what is the need of setting up of new ICTC or FICTC in PPP model. So those things can be taken care, and accordingly we can plan our scale-up plan for the ICTCs. Then the other important thing in reducing the gap in first 95 is promoting self-care for persons who are who have been exposed to HIV through any sexual contact or the needle sharing, and then just to inform them about the importance of self-care and link them appropriately with the Sampurna Suraksha centers. So this is another slide just to reiterate on the bridging the gaps, how we can bridge the gaps in the first 95. So one thing which we discussed is the risk assessment of the walk-in clients, and try to include and the regular follow-up of those HRG population, the sexual and needle sharing partners, and then enhancement of the case finding strategies through the index testing or partner testing services, social model, network model, HIV self-care, prison population coverage. So these are the things which we are discussing since morning, and there's no rocket science behind this. These are the well-known strategies for improving our case finding. Minimizing the linkage loss between the screening and confirmation. So we have observed from the community-based screening site or from the FICTC to the standalone site ICTC, there is a gap in linkages. So that gap need to be minimized to the bare minimum, and HIV testing need to be offered to all those who are having some STIs or hepatitis C, or they need to be offered HIV testing so that we can identify more if there are any, and sexual or the needle sharing partners risk assessment to be done. So these are the HIV WHO recommended HIV testing services delivery approaches. At facility, at ICTC, we can offer HIV testing to all the clients, those who are coming there from different inpatient or outpatient, or from ANC or TB clinic, or from STA clinic or contraceptive services. So we can provide HIV testing services to them. Again, to reach the people, those who are not able to reach at the facility, we can expand our community-based sites in community through the community-based organizations also, or at the workplace, or through the clubs or bars. Then we can provide provider-assisted referral services, which is known as the assisted partner notification. So where individuals are supported for contacting their partner and then bringing them for the HIV testing services. And then one approach is known as the social network-based approach, where if person is not willing or not comfortable in sharing partner details, they can just we will provide coupons to them, and they can just share these coupons with their partners anonymously without revealing their own identity, without revealing that they themselves have visited STS services. They can simply say, I was in a hospital, or I was working through the hospital for some reason, and I get to know some sort of HIV testing services are provided in hospital. So these are the coupons which they have provided to me. You can go ahead and just get yourself tested. So that sort of coupons can be distributed, and people can reach out to the ICTC walk-in with the coupons, and there is no need of asking details about from where they got these coupons, and no need to link them with any of the clients. You can simply consult them, provide services, and do the testing. So then there is something, HIV self-testing is also coming up in program. So these kits can be provided to individuals for themselves or for their partners, enabling them to collect samples, which can be oral or blood sample, and perform tests on their own at a place which is convenient to them, and all their elective results will send for the confirmatory results. So they will be consulted and informed about need of coming back to us once if the result is positive, so that they can be linked for the confirmatory testing and other appropriate services. So now I will touch briefly about what is index testing, what is partner testing services. So these are basically well-known strategies of like improving our case finding results, the first 95 achievements. So whenever a person is found positive at a ICTC, we need to understand the sexual and the injecting network or the biological children, those who are at risk of getting infection. So the spouse or the sexual partner or the injecting partner and the biological children of less than 19 years need to be understood. So for that, we need to make a list of all these partners. For biological children, there is some criteria like if the index case is a female, so HIV positive female, so we can ask about the biological children of less than 19 years. If index case is a male, we can say like we will ask about the spouse HIV status. If the spouse status is not known or the spouse is diseased, she is expired, then we will also inquire about the less than 19-year-old children of the HIV positive male. Then if the next case is a child, then we will inquire about the biological siblings as well. This is how we do the index to make the contact list. And there are some 10 steps which need to be followed for offering index testing, and this need to be provided by the trained person only, and it can be provided at all the settings, both community or facility based testing, with minimum standard of safe and ethical testing need to be followed. I will touch base briefly about the minimum standards also. So it can be provided, as I mentioned in the previous slide also, it can be provided, index testing can be provided at any place where like conformity test is provided. It can be ICTC or the mobile ICTC as well. It can be facility where the treatment services are provided like ART or OST site. It can be a care and support center. Wherever we are planning to provide index testing services, the point is the person needs to be trained on index testing services, and minimum standards of safe and ethical testing need to be followed at these sites. It can be a TI sites also, care and support center, anywhere. So basically, person needs to be trained and follow the minimum standards of safe and ethical testing. These are the minimum standards, like adherence to the WHO's 5 C's, like consent, confidentiality, counseling, correct test result, and connection to the prevention or treatment. Then intimate partner violence related risk assessment need to be done, and first line response with the safety check need to be provided. A person need to be trained on IPV risk assessment and providing the first line support. There must be some site level adverse event monitoring and reporting mechanism. And as I'm repeatedly saying, like provider need to be trained on index testing procedure, including 5C, IPV, adverse event monitoring, ethics, everything. Person need to be trained on that, and need to take the informed consent and need to follow like do not harm in any case. And there must be a secure environment to store patient information so that we can adhere to the 5 C's, like one of the 5 C's confidentiality. So that need to be ensured so that there should be appropriate environment for storing the patient information. So now we talked about where these services can be provided. Now we will talk about who may be offering index testing services. So at TI, it can be a counselor, staff nurse, outreach worker, peer educator, or the navigator. At ICTC, it can be the ICTC counselor. At ART center, it can be the counselor or a staff nurse or the care coordinator. At care and support center, it can be the peer counselor or the outreach worker. It can be anyone who is like trained in index testing services or having the basic mostly skills. So now we will talk about how we are going to conduct this partner contacting or the notifying. When I say notifying, it's not necessarily the notifying. It's basically making client comfortable of like sharing contact details, partner details, and bringing them for the HIV testing. So there are 4 broad strategies how a person can accept for the contacting of their partners or children for HIV testing and bringing them up. So one is like client referral, where we tell the we encourage the client for bringing their partner to the health facility for the HIV testing. So client themselves will bring their partner and the children into the facility. Provider referral is where like client is saying, okay, I am not very much comfortable and I may not be like in condition to inform my partner about my status or inform them for the HIV, need of HIV testing. So you may call or visit or contact my partner on my behalf and just bring them. So at this point, I will just try to reiterate, like, again, if a client is choosing the provider referral, it's not necessarily linked with the disclosure of the client's identity to the partner. When we are reaching out to the partner, it's not necessarily like we need to tell them from where I got your information and why I am contacting you. Until the client has given consent for sharing their HIV status or share their identity with their partner. If they have not given this consent for sharing their identity, there's no need to tell them. Just we can there are different mechanisms of reaching out to the partners without revealing the identity of the index case. At the same time, when we are reaching out to the partner, there is no need of revealing the identity or the HIV testing status of the partner to the index case. So both the confidentiality of both of them is equally important. So once we are reaching out to the partners of the index case, we will make sure that partner's identity also need to be ensured with the index case until and unless there is a consent for sharing the details. Then there is a contact referral. Here, index case come in sort of contract with the provider, like I will try my best for bringing my partner or informing my partner about the importance of HIV test, and I will bring them to the HIV testing facility within this much period. It may be 14 days, it may be 1 month, or it may be more than that also. Even at the end of that period, client can say, okay, I'm not very much comfortable now, I want some more time. They can take further like 15 days or 1 month period for making themselves comfortable and informing client about informing their partner about the importance of HIV testing. And even if they come up like at the end of the time, provider will contact first the index case and try to understand their comfort rate about contacting the partner. If they are not ready, or if they are saying like, no, I don't want to go with this, I want a dual referral mechanism, or I want to go with the provider referral mechanism, or I want some additional time to bring on myself, I will prefer to bring the partner on myself, but I may need some additional time. That is also fine. So that is the third strategy. And the fourth way is dual referral, where index case is saying, okay, I am not very much comfortable. I want your support in telling my partner. So please accompany me, and we will discuss as a team with my partner about the importance of HIV testing and status work. So accordingly, the client can choose any one of the four strategies for informing their partner or children about the importance of HIV testing. These are the four different ways. Now I will briefly touch about why this is important, why index testing is important. As we are already doing the partner testing, we are doing the spouse testing at some extent at the facilities. So while this slide is basically this data is from the Northeast, where PEPFAR is working, CDC is working with the implementing partner ITAC. So this data is for the July to September period, and we try to understand the different partner notification strategies adopted by the clients. So majority of them is definitely chosen for the client referral, like 80% of them are accepted for the client referral. But the positivity was not only from the client referral, we got almost equal, like 21% of the partners from the contacts from the index cases who accepted for the client referral, 21% were the positive. And similarly, in those who accepted for the provider referral or contact referral, we got 15 to 17% positivity in them also. Even those who have accepted for dual referral, 9% were positive. So positivity is there in other method of like partner notification as well. So we need to focus on the partner notification strategies. Client may need some different mode of contacting their partners, and we are getting good positive results from those strategies as well. And if we, these are the, this is how we like monitor program, even it's like global way of monitoring index testing. So if you can maintain this sort of record at your facility level, at your SACs or district or the facility level, you will be able to understand like from where the infection is coming, how like we need to scale up our activities, where we need more TI or ICTCs or ART centers. You know, in this slide only, you will appreciate like positivity of 19% positivity from the new partner testing offered at different facilities in these northeast geographies during this particular 3-month period. But in 19%, this was equally 19% was at ART center as well. Like it was not at ICTC. ICTC was 28%, but at ART center also we got 19% positivity, at TI 16% positivity, at OST center 13%. So the point is, the index testing is not the work of only the ICTCs. It can be done at other facilities also. It should be done at other facilities also, because there are high chances some people can be missed at ICTC from offering index testing, from illustrating their contacts and getting the status of their partners or their children. No, the counselors were like able to get more than 2, like 2.5. If you can see the contact illustration bar, so there were 2.5. It means like counselors were able to get the details of contacts from more than 2%. Like each and every client has given more than 2 contact details. So that's why it's 2.5. Average contact illustration rate is 2.5. So I understand it's Northeast data. There may be some concerns about the majority of them may be injecting partner getting injecting partner details are a bit easier in comparison to sexual. But there are some evidence from other geographies also where we get sexual partner details also apart from the spouses, and we are getting good positive results from those contact illustrations also. So the bottom line is, contact illustration can be done at any facility. It can be TI, OST, ICTC, OART center, provided person is trained in offering index testing and different skills of like how we can improve on contact illustration, and appropriate linkages need to be ensured wherever the contact illustration is done, wherever the HIV testing was done. So this is another model which we have talked a bit about the social network model in the previous slide as well. Like once the person is not ready to share the partner details, even if it is HIV positive or even if it is HIV negative high risk client, so we can always look for their sexual network, their drug injecting network, their social contacts, HIV positive, HIV negative network, the key population group network. So we can offer them sort of participation through the coupon approach, or through like we can put a drop box in our waiting area of the ICTC and just ask them to drop a list of people, those who are there like thinking of at risk of getting infection. So they will just put the contact detail of those people in their social network in the drop box without revealing their identity in the kit. That is another way of offering the social network model. So these are some examples from Northeast and from AP, where we got like very good yield from the social network model, and we tried blending social network with the index testing. Once the person like identified positive through the social network model, the index testing was carried out for them to identify their sexual partners and their children and their spouses, and we got a very good results. You can see like these red are the active, still active chain of communication for offering further SNM model. So there are a lot of like positive identified from this network. Now I will hand over to Srinivas for taking further about the different motivational techniques to be used for the contact illustration, and different counseling techniques to be used for offering index testing and doing HIV testing services. Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Sudhir. Thanks, Dr. Govind, Rajiv, and the team at NACO and CDC for setting the context so nicely. So the task at hand for NACO and for all of us is to see how we can decongest the workload of the counselors so that, the first 95 gaps can be fulfilled. And the counselor can focus on the key role that is assigned to him, which is counseling. So as we've heard from various experiences and some of the field visits by the NACO team, there is a bit of challenge with data entry that the counselors are facing. There's a bit of challenge with the routine work that the counselors do, the register that they maintain, because of which probably the focus on counseling is less. And although there have been excellent trainings and modules by the Saksham team and TIS and the various NACO programs, unfortunately, the counselors don't have the time or don't have the resources, or at times also the attitude to do the counseling properly. So what we are trying to do is, as we decongest, we strengthen the counseling skills also. So I'm not going to do much of talking here. It's just 3 slides, just to give you a taste of what we are planning on including in the soft skills, so that the counselor can then start focusing on counseling. So the key areas where we will look at the counselor or provider or navigator or whatever you call the person will be to inform the client about the need or the reason why he or she has come, to motivate them to go through with whatever decision has been taken, and to teach the skills and resources to enable the client to perform whatever he has entered the ICTC for. And this is very important because as you've seen in the previous slides, we were looking at population that is referred from different facilities, TIANC, and inpatient referral or surgical screening, pre-surgical screening. But the key population which walks into our ICTC without any information or knowledge is the one that needs to be motivated and counseled. And a lot of times they have been found to return without getting tested, either because they were not given enough information, or were not motivated enough, or were not provided the resources. So these are the 4 key areas where we will be focusing on to improve the soft skills of the counselor. Essentially, all counseling, and it's almost like preaching to the choir here, but all the counseling rests on 5 basic principles, which is the rapport building, which talks about how you develop a relationship with the counselor, with the client, and then together with the client, defining the problem. Now, when we look at these steps, similar to the steps that have been mentioned in the operational guidelines of HIV counseling and testing, the steps that Dr. Sudhi spoke about in index testing, all these steps look very detailed and long. However, they are not. When you do it systematically, it doesn't take much time. Defining the problem is simple because the person has come there to get himself or herself tested for HIV. And then trying to understand what goals the person has is very easy when we start talking to the individual after developing a good rapport with him. Of course, as we dig deeper and we look at other forms of testing, partner testing, spouse testing, index testing, social network model testing, we realize that you will need more and more dialogue with the client for him or her to decide on a plan of action. These are not abstract terms. These are terms which we use normally, but we don't put them in these steps. So once the person has decided on an action plan, we do a thorough follow-up with the individual, either through phone call or the home visit. And I understand that this is possible once, there is some amount of training in this aspect and some amount of work reduction in the other aspects, so that there is enough time for a counselor to do these activities. So, when Dr. Sudhi was talking about spouse testing, index testing, partner notification techniques, or, index testing, as he was talking about, it's very important that the client is motivated, and especially the positive client is motivated to bring his or her sexual and injecting partners, or if it's a mother, to bring his or her biological child for testing. We have seen evidence shows not just here in various other illnesses and recently in COVID that contact tracing has been a very successful tool to bring more and more people in for treatment. And similarly, index testing or partner testing is nothing but contact tracing. So for that, it's very important that the client is motivated properly and assured and ensured that confidentiality is taken care of and consent taken at all times. This is done through a very simple technique, which we call oars. We all know an oar is something that is used to sort of pedal a boat. And similarly, it is symbolic to say that we are navigating the client through the difficult process of taking decision to bring his or her partner in for testing. So we start with open-ended questions, and a lot of times when, and this has been the experience of a lot of people without laying blames on anybody, that we all tend to get very curious when somebody is talking to PLHIV. And the curiosity is about where the person has got the infection from, how the person has got the infection from, and somewhere in our back of our minds, we are judging the person. So that's the reason why we say that in a non-judgmental manner, we ask open-ended questions that are absolutely non-threatening and non-stigmatizing for the individual, with the sole purpose of trying to find out who else could be infected in the PLHIV's network. Once these open-ended questions have been asked and we hear and reaffirm the statements that the individual makes through listening, reflective listening, we can summarize the conversation and start talking to the individual about the different steps of partner testing, where we list down who could be the other sexual and injecting sharing partners and ask the client to bring those people in for testing. So I think with this, those were the three quick slides on counseling, just to give you a sense of what we're planning in terms of improving the soft skills of counselors. And I think way forward is something Dr. Govind, I think you will be taking, or Rajiv. Over to you, Dr. Govind or Rajiv.
Yeah, thank you, Srinivas. Thank you, Dr. Chawla, for such wonderful presentation and explaining it in detail with respect to the client flow and the various other soft skill as well, and the approaches as well. Now, coming to the way forward, yes, we have discussed about it at the national level, what we have been doing, and few things that I mentioned in my earlier slides. At the same time, we are working, as I said, that we are working on revising the technical specifications also. There is a committee for that, and we have put in a request wherein we can just review all the specifications as early as possible, so that it becomes a kind of, if there is a need to change it, the committee will look into it and will change them as early as possible.
So thank you so much. This was the training video, the training module. And we're also joined by Mr. Srinivas, Technical Director of Prevention from ITech India. And we have Dr. Sujit and Dr. Hanumantarayappa ji with us. And the floor is open for discussion. So if anybody had any questions or any queries, please feel free to unmute yourself and share with us.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you. Please go on.
Yeah, I'm from Karnataka. Actually, we wanted to tell ma'am, if we wanted to, we do the in source entry, why don't you remove the registers? Entry in register.
Okay, so you're asking if the entry register should be removed.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Because if we do the both, we didn't get the time to counsel.
Okay, fair enough. Would anybody like to respond to Savita ji?
So,
Dr.
Anushree,
Hanumantara. Yes, please
yeah.
go on.
Is there somebody from NACO who would like to explain that? Otherwise, because madam, for Soch and other technical issues with regard to the reporting mechanisms, we will take these questions to NACO and get you the responses. But if there is somebody, they can respond now from NACO. Hi, this is Srinivas here.
Yes, Dr. Sujit, are you still connected with us? If yes, please unmute yourself. We have Dr. Sujit from NACO today. Okay, anybody else has any question? Any question related to the counselor video that we shared?
Okay, Anushri, Sujit is not there. So, madam, for Soch entry and the registration formats and the data that needs to be entered and issues like whether to enter the ANC negative women data and the data for those who are tested negative, there is a discussion going on. There are strong suggestions from a lot of state teams, and we are also working with NACO on how to rationalize and operationalize Soch reporting. For your information, the work is on, and there is a lot of discussion on how to make the Soch reporting easy and do away with the offline version of reporting. However, of course, you can understand that there are challenges in certain states in India where, because of network issues, offline or hard copy registers have to be maintained. However, your concern is well noted, and it is also recognized by NACO. And there are efforts going on for rationalizing those reporting mechanisms. Anushri, thanks. Next question.
Okay, sir. Thank you. And
Thank
one thing
you.
also I wanted to tell you, share you that हम लोगों को पॉजिटिव केसेस को एंट्री करने नहीं हो रहा है सोच में, मतलब ओल्ड एएनसी केसेस.
Yes. So, madam, whatever is the Soch ka problems, if you can just write it in the chat box, हम लोग उसको NACO को दिखा देंगे कि ये problems है.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay,
I also
thank
saw
you.
this on the PALS software entry. If you can
Yes.
continue, we will take this suggestion to NACO. Unfortunately, we are here as a technical partner to discuss on counseling and index testing and counseling skills. These operational issues, we will take it to NACO, to Dr. Bhavani, and revert on these things.
Right. Noted. So, are there any other questions?
Hello.
Yes. Yes.
Hello.
Yes, we hear you.
हाँ मैम, अर्लियर सिम्स है ना, सिम्स वो ऑफलाइन करके अपलोड करने के लिए चांसेस है पहले. ऐसा भी करे तो चलता है ना. सोच ऑफलाइन एंट्री करने के बाद में नेक्स्ट अपलोड करने के.
हाँ, ठीक है. हाँ, पॉइंट नोट कर लिया है मैडम. सोच का ऑफलाइन एंट्री करके बाद में जब इंटरनेट आता है उस टाइम पे ऑनलाइन एंट्री करने का
अपलोड करने का सर.
हाँ, ठीक है, हम पूछ लेंगे. सुजीत इज नॉट देयर ना? सुजीत है नहीं ना अभी यहाँ पे?
I can see him in the participants. I can see Sujit written, but I'm not sure if it's the same person. Dr. Sujit, are you there? Dr. P. Sujit.
Anyways, ठीक है. This also we can take it of offline reporting and then
अपलोड करने के.
हाँ, अपलोड करने के लिए जब इंटरनेट रहेगा तब अपलोड करेंगे.
हाँ, ऐसा करे तो अच्छा लगता है सर. सम टाइम नेटवर्क इश्यू होता है, सब वर्क पेंडिंग रहते वो हमको.
ठीक है.
वो पहले सिम से कर.
हेलो मैडम.
हाँ सर.
हाँ मैडम, डिलीट ऑप्शन भी नहीं है.
हाँ, डिलीट ऑप्शन भी नहीं है.
अगर मैडम सर, ये सोच का ट्रेनिंग अनफॉर्चुनेटली नहीं था, तो सोच का क्वेरीज अगर आप लोग अपने स्टेट के जो नोडल ऑफिसर हैं उनसे बताएंगे तो इट विल बी बेटर, बिकॉज हम तो सोच का ये मेनली काउंसलिंग स्किल्स के ऊपर में ट्रेनिंग था, और आईसीटीसी में इंडेक्स टेस्टिंग अगर उसके ऊपर में कुछ चैलेंजेस है कैसे हो सकता है, तो उसके ऊपर था ट्रेनिंग में.
सर एक्चुअली आप आप सही बोल रहे हैं, लेकिन मैं क्या इश्यू किया इसमें, अभी हम लोगों को काउंसलिंग करना ही है तो हम लोग रजिस्टर एंट्री किया तो, और सोच में भी एंट्री करना पड़ता है, इसी में टाइम लग जाता है हम लोगों को। मतलब 40-50 केसेस रहता है आईसीटीसी में।
नहीं सविता जी, वो बात आपका सही है, उसलिए मैं बोल रहा था कि जो आपका जो कंसर्न्स था ना कि सोच
मैं
का
क्या मेरा
ऑफलाइन,
इश्यू क्या था, एटलीस्ट 1 रिमूव कर दो, सोच
नहीं
रहने दो, ऑनलाइन है अभी अपडेटेड है तो अच्छा है, पर रजिस्टर में एंट्री करके सोच में एंट्री कर से हम लोगों को टाइम ही नहीं मिलता काउंसलिंग करने के लिए।
हाँ
हमारा
नहीं ये,
काउंसलिंग का काम ही गया है, यहाँ पे हम लोग एफडी से काम कर रहे हैं काउंसलिंग छोड़ के।
हाँ वही
अच्छे
वही मैं
से।
बोल रहा हूँ कि ये जो आपका है ये हम नोट करके नैको को बताएंगे, लेकिन सोच में क्या डिलीट एंट्री है या नहीं है, या एडिट का ऑप्शन नहीं है, ये तो हम बता भी नहीं सकते, उनको बता भी देंगे
ओके
उनको ये
सर।
कॉपी करके। बट जो आप बोल रहे हैं, टाइम दैट इज टेकन इन एंट्री ऑफ सोच एंड हैविंग एन ऑफलाइन ऑप्शन, दैट वी विल डेफिनेटली कम्युनिकेट टू नैको।
सर
ओके
हेलो सर।
हाँ हाँ जी, बोलिए अर्चना जी।
हेलो
सर
हेलो हेलो श्रीनिवास जी, हेलो
हेलो, यस, मैं आपको
क्या
सुन सकते
अर्चना
हैं।
जी बोल रही थी?
हेलो
अर्चना जी बोल
श्रीनिवास,
रही थी। हेलो, अर्चना जी बोल रही थी, पहले उनका हो जाए।
सर इधर हम सब काम करने के लिए बहुत टाइम लग रहा और टाइमिंग में सेट नहीं हो रहा, तो एक डेटा एंट्री ऑपरेटर दिए तो सब अच्छा होता सर। और काउंसलिंग रजिस्टर भी कर सकते हैं, डेटा एंट्री ऑपरेटर दिए तो आईसीटीसी को एक।
हाँ ठीक है, हम बता देंगे नैको तक वील कन्वे
हाँ
दिस।
बर्डन
हेलो
हम
हेलो श्रीनिवास, हेलो श्रीनिवास,
बर्डन
Yeah,
सर।
who is
हेलो
this? I can only see the phone number. Who is this?
Yes,
श्रीनिवास,
Yes.
I'm Sujit from NACO.
Ah,
Sujit from
Sujit,
another
thanks,
questions.
thanks for joining. Yeah, Sujit. Yeah, because
Okay,
your
I
phone
already
is
joined,
there. I'm not able to.
but there are some audio issues.
Okay, great, great. So a couple of questions, Sujit. One was about the Soch entry that is taking time, and if you could have an offline version where you can fill in at the time
No,
of
by
entry,
the some
and yeah,
audio I joined with, maybe answer the questions related to Soch. So first,
yeah.
question received that why we are
Sujit, your network is poor.
not.
Sujit,
Hello,
your voice is not clear.
can you hear me? Now hear me. Hello.
Yeah, now it's clear, Sujit.
So let me respond to some queries regarding the Soch. The first of that somebody from asked about why we are not remove the SGS register from the ICTC. So there depends upon their we are leave to that freedom to SACs. If the one of the ICTC council is completely confident to enter the data, keep the data in fully within a software model or in Soch, so they can remove the ICTC registers. We no need to keep, we never ask to keep the register in a simultaneous recording manner. So apart from that, some high load ICTCs and they are not able to enter the data in the same day during the counseling time. So such kind
Yes,
of
sir.
ICTCs
Yes,
have to
sir.
keep the register over there, isn't it? So that
Yes, sir.
is my one of my practical experience I received from the field level visit. Next thing that I don't know. I think that the second question is related to some network issue or something. Sorry, online offline data entry. Why we are proposing the offline data entry? That is under consideration of NACO. So we will revert you very soon. Are you okay with my answer? Hello.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir.
Hello.
Hello.
yes, we hear you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. That is all in my side.
Yes, sir. Actually, that only I'm getting from your answer. But if you remove the registers, it's a good for us. High loaded ICTCs.
So it's good for. No. How you can tell me that? How can you keep the repos 150 clients for the ICDCs? How to the council has to enter the post-test counseling details also, pre-test counseling details also.
Yes, sir. We should enter
Some of the
in
medical
source
colleges
code.
and high load. You are able to enter in fully confident. You can remove. You can
लेकिन
remove. No
ये तो
restriction
ऑर्डर
for that
चाहिए ना सर,
in
हम
my
लोगों को
consent.
रिमूव करने के लिए रजिस्टर्स।
So that is why if NACO providing order to the we have to
Unable to
Sujit,
hear,
your
sir.
network is poor again, Sujit. Your
all the
voice is
ICs
cracking in
in the
between.
Unable to
national
hear,
level.
sir.
Sujit,
Okay.
your voice is cracking.
Okay,
We could
this is
not hear.
confidence to enter the data in the search in software, or which is you are keeping the individual data. There you are copying. Sir. Hello.
Sir, we are not getting
Yeah,
your
in
voice
between your
properly.
voice was not audible, Sujit. It was
Yeah,
not
yeah,
clear. It was cracking.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, Sujit, now it is clear.
Hello.
Hello.
Sir, सुनिए आ रहे sir?
Sir, voice not
I can
clear.
hear you. Let me complete. Let me complete. Okay.
Hello.
Hello. Let me
दिगंबर
complete.
जी, सुजीत जी जवाब दे रहे हैं. प्लीज 2 मिनट अपने आप म्यूट कर लीजिएगा. सुजीत जी जवाब दे रहे हैं. नाको से सुजीत जी जवाब दे रहे हैं.
Okay, sir. Okay.
If the state is 100% confidential, all the ICTC facilities can be enter the data day by day in search. There is a report status about 76 or 77% of ICTC are using the data, and that data is not updated.
Sujit, we have lost you, Sujit.
Hello.
Not clear, sir. Your voice is not clear. We are
Hello.
not getting your answers also.
We are not able
Okay,
to
anyway.
understand the answer.
Some
Hello.
issues is there. I think there's a no.
Yes, we
It's a
cannot
complete
hear
tower
at
is
all.
here, but I don't know what is happened. Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, now it's slightly better.
Hello,
Can
Sinoj
you
ji.
hear me? Hello.
Yeah,
Hello.
Sujit. Yeah, now
Ah.
Sujit, it is clear. Yeah.
Okay. So let me convey this message. If the state is 100% regarding that, they can keep a search, or the ICTs are fully confident to enter the data day by day in search system. So those that ICTC can be removed, can be removed their physical register. So we never why the orders come from NACO. Why the order is not come from NACO? Because we under consideration of NACO, we have to know about that all the ICTCs, 100% of the ICTCs completely using the physical register over there. So then only currently now we every weekly we are taking the storage entry status report. So now currently it's around 76 or 78%. So remaining 28%, 22% of the facilities need to be enter the data over there. Then only we can provide such kind of order to you. Okay.
So Sujit, let me just translate this in Hindi because there are some
Anyway,
Hindi speaking
this
people
question
also
is
here. Sujit, I'll just translate your response in Hindi.
my response.
Yeah, I'll translate it in Hindi. I'm saying for some people who are speaking Hindi here. I'll translate
Okay,
it.
you can.
Yeah. So सुजीत जी ये बोल रहे हैं कि अगर आपको कॉन्फिडेंट है आपके आईसीटीसी में कि डेली आपका सोच एंट्री हो रहा है, तो नैको ने कभी कोई ऑर्डर दिया नहीं है कि आपको हार्ड कॉपी रजिस्टर मेंटेन करना है. आप डायरेक्टली सोच में भी रजिस्टर मेंटेन कर एंट्री कर सकते हैं.
ठीक है, लेकिन हम लोगों को लेटर चाहिए ना. अगर आपको छोड़ के कोई ऑफिसर यहाँ पे आए तो रजिस्टर पूछेंगे हम लोगों को. रजिस्टर में क्यों नहीं एंट्री हुआ है? एटलीस्ट वो हार्ड कॉपी तो एटलीस्ट
Madam, let me answer that. So we will take this issue in NACO IT team or the higher officials of NACO. So let them decide to.
Sir, without official letter, we can't
when
do
we
that.
provide the order.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I consider that. We consider that.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
And one thing also, sir, in सोच में हम लोगों को पुराने पॉजिटिव केसेस को एंट्री नहीं हो रहे हैं. Old AMCA cases we can't enter in the search.
So during the training session conducted in Chennai, we received this information on the feedback, and our IT team is working for that. Okay. In future, that facility will be available to source. That can be I can say right now. Okay. So we noticed all the things where the training session going in Chennai. So that that will be available soon. Okay.
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 Mr. Dhanu has raised his hand. Mr. Dhanu,
We
you wanted
have
to say?
Mr. Dhanu, I think. His hand is raised. Please unmute yourself. Dhanu,
Yeah, ma'am.
Bluetooth.
Yeah, ma'am.
Yes.
Good afternoon, ma'am. मैम पूछ रहे हैं मैम हेलो
आवाज आ रहा है यू कैन स्पीक इन इंग्लिश और हिंदी आप पूछ लीजिए
इंग्लिश सर ये सर्च मॉडिफाई करने के लिए जरा चांस दीजिए आरटी ओल्ड केस का already we do in pre-test counseling we enter the search then after we know the post-test counseling it is already known case or old case or ANIRT case it is need modify sir so that address and name change करने के लिए
Madam, all these issues came in the consideration of during the last meeting done at Chennai. So so many Karnataka representatives also were also there. So there is the same issues. Andhra Pradesh also face the same issues.
Sir.
So we consider this matter. Okay.
Yes, sir. What we can speak in our center, so many high cases, sir. In MMC, so many high cases have, sir. So that time we enter search. But post-test counseling, we are, got the new case, old case or ANIRT. So we need modifying, sir. That's why we are asking.
So that facility is that facility is available.
Yes, sir.
I receive. I got your point. There is a non-cases updation on सकते है ना?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Details. Demographic details. So that will be available soon. So all these we are noted during the training session. So we convey this message to our IT team, those who are developing those who are handling the search or in NACO. Okay. Apart from this, any other queries?
No.
हेलो सर सुजीत सर
Yes, sir. Thank you,
सर सोच में क्या हो रहा है सर जो भी हम डाटा देते हैं ना सर जल्द से फीड नहीं होता है लेट होता है सर
So you just take the screenshot of that one and share with the NACO IT help desk along with the user ID and password. They will provide a solution for you. Okay, this is not an all India level issue. Some particular ICTCs or have some issues. We noticed we are receiving so many complaints like this. So they will give the exact solution for you. Okay, you take the
सर एक पेशेंट का अगर एंट्री करते हैं ना सर 2-3 मिनट लेता है सर वो
of the issues and write the issues what you are facing and say time. Hello, tell me again please.
हाँ हेलो सर सोच में जब एंट्री करते हैं ना सर सेव करने के बाद लेट से होता है सर सेव लेट से होता है 2-3 मिनट होता है सर एक मिनट एक पेशेंट को सॉफ्टवेयर थोड़ा स्लो हो गया है सर फास्ट वर्क ही नहीं होता सर उसमें
No, that is the center based issues. Why matlab it is not an issue with all the facilities. So I provide
सेंटर बेस्ड नहीं है सर सभी काउंसलर सही बोलते हैं सर
No, I'm telling you, you have to take the screenshot of that issue and share with the NACO IT team, IT help desk. You already received the mail ID and you already received the phone contact details of the IT help desk NACO. You can share that information with them. They will maintain. Okay.
सर स्क्रीनशॉट हमें सभी डैप के ऑफिसर्स को सेंड किया है सर भाई एक ही ICTC नहीं है सर डिस्ट्रिक्ट में जितने भी ICTC हैं सर सभी लोग स्क्रीनशॉट डैप के ऑफिस को भेज दिया है सर
Whenever you are opening your search, there is in right corner, bottom right corner, you have the contact details of NACO IT help desk. Or otherwise, you in other way through mail you will receive the information how to contact the NACO IT help desk. So you can contact with them directly. They are working for you also. Okay. Each council can directly send their screenshot to them.
Okay.
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 Okay, Hashmat has raised his hand. Would you like to share anything? Please feel free to unmute yourself. Hashmat B. Any other question?
Hello, madam.
Yes, we can hear you.
Madam from Karnataka, Mysore se.
Yes, yes.
Madam, Soch, only positive cases can entry is better. And also we are link at centers. Every day 50 to 60 cases entry means little bit.
So
Hello.
So yeah, hi. So the entry of positive cases that has been taken up, and for your information, there is as Sujit was saying, there is already a training at regional level that is happening, and all the issues of sorts that you are raising here have already been brought up by your nodal officers, and it is being considered. Okay.
Please, sir. Please,
Yeah.
sir.
Right, Sujit?
Thank you.
Am I right?
Right. Dr. Hanumantan Rayappa, any words from you? Would you like to share anything? DD ICTC?
Whatever they're asking the queries, ma'am, so we are also note down. You can take it down, and we are going to pass to the help desk of Soch, ma'am, to NACO to clarification detail. I understand that hopefully our councils is understanding the Soch, and they're facing the problems also they're asking. So whatever they're asking the questions, you can clarify from NACO, ma'am. So we are going to pass these questions to the help desk of NACO and IT. And I very much thankful to you to explanation, detail, and every content of this today program. So I hopefully our council is understanding thoroughly, and in between also they have some doubts. They may ask in between after they're going to the field their entry in the Soch. Over to you, ma'am.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Hanumantan Rayappa. If there are no more questions, can we conclude this session?
Hello. Hello.
Yes, Shobha, we can hear you.
Excuse me, madam. I am Shobha from Karnataka, Dharwad.
I don't know if it's only me, but I think your voice was not audible.
Madam. Hello.
Could you repeat your question?
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you now.
मैडम 2 काउंसलर्स रहते ना, उधर एक ही कंप्यूटर है मैडम, उधर कैसे करेंगे मैडम सोच एंट्री? हेलो.
यस तो आप बोल रहे हैं कि कंप्यूटर्स का शॉर्टेज है?
हाँ मैम, एक ही सेंटर को एक दिए हैं मैम, काउंसलर्स 2 है मैम, हम कैसे एंटर करेंगे मैम? केसेस ज्यादा रहता है मैम.
Hello, let me answer this one. Hello.
Yes, Dr. Sujit, we
can you hear me? So
yes.
Hello.
Your BS division. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Now I think we've lost you.
Go ahead, Sujit.
NACO. Hello.
Yes, we can hear you now.
Can you hear?
Yeah.
Yes, Dr. Sujit.
This is
वर्कलोड ज्यादा, केसेस ज्यादा रहता ना सर, इसलिए 2 काउंसलर रहते सर. हेलो.
Shobha ji, please wait. Let's hear it from Dr. Sujit.
हाँ मैम.
He's facing some technical issue. Dr. Sujit, आप try करिए.
Raise this issue with your state tax official under BSB. Okay.
I don't know. I don't think if we can all hear him.
So Dr. Sujit, Sujit, I think what you're saying is that these issues can be raised with the nodal officer of your SACs, and in the regional training, these have been taken up by all the SACs, right, Sujit? Yeah, I think that is what the message was, that this can be taken up by the nodal officer. Yeah.
Okay. Do we have any other question?
Which is not related to SOCH, because SOCH questions, either you can take it up with your nodal officer or you can raise it in the helpline and the SOCH mail.
Yes, as also was mentioned by DD ICTC that he's
hello,
also
hello,
noting
can
them
you,
down.
am I audible? Hello, I am Sujit.
Yes, you're audible. Yes.
Hello. My request to all the counselors of Karnataka SACs, do you have any queries, any issues? Just try to contact NACO IT help desk. There for you. Okay. There's no restriction for that. What are the queries and what are the issues facing with the SOCH? You can directly contact the IT help desk NACO.
Okay.
There's no restriction for that. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Thank you.
I think if there are no questions related to the training today, yes, we will send the training material and all the video that has been displayed today to the SACs. If there is nothing else, then we can wind up on stream.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, madam.
Sir, what is this capsular training means? What is the difference between what we are doing daily? For that, what is this difference? In the training, you had tell 5-day model of counseling.
So
is it in the regular counseling system or in the TI project only? It is uploaded, sir.
No, this is not.
5D model of counseling is there.
Yeah, so this is not the only limited to the TI. The 5-day training is the larger training. Capsular training means when we are doing a short training for one particular capsule. So here we were talking about partner testing and index testing, and also for that we were talking about how the roles can be revised. So that is why this is named capsular training. The reason why this training has been given is just to expose the counselors to the thought that NACO is having on how to reduce the workload of the counselors. So this all will be taken up in the larger training that will happen for the counselors, which is the larger counselor training.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Anushri, I think then we can end this training. Pay revision and all is something that even the NACO, even Sujit, I think it will be something that the leadership at NACO has to respond. We won't be able to respond to that. But we have recorded all these questions. We'll take a printout and submit all these questions to NACO also.
Right. Okay, so as we don't have any more questions, we can conclude this session. I thank Dr. Sujit. Yeah. Anybody wants to say something? Yatish? Kavita?
Hello. So yeah.
Hello? Yes. Yatish. We can hear you. हाँ बोलिए.
हाँ मैम, सुनाई दे रहा आपको?
हाँ जी हम सुन पा रहे हैं. आप बोलिए.
हमारा जो मेजर सेंटर है विक्टोरिया हॉस्पिटल बैंगलोर, इधर हर जगह के पेशेंट आएंगे, और जो पहले पॉजिटिव रहता पेशेंट और ऑन ART भी रहता, उसके पास कुछ रिकॉर्ड्स नहीं रहता, वैसा पेशेंट भी हमारे पास आएगा इधर, तो हम उस समय वो पेशेंट को लेना पड़ेगा. लेकिन अभी तो सोच चालू हुआ है, तो हम उसको नया PID नंबर नहीं दे सकते. लेकिन अगर उसको सोच में हम एंट्री करना चाहते तो आप पोस्ट टेस्ट होने के बाद में उधर एक डिलीट ऑप्शन में वो पूरे ऑप्शंस आए होते हैं, डेथ या विजिट अनदर ICTC, ऐसे उसमें एक आप डुप्लीकेट एंट्री किए तो हमको बेहतर रहेगा। ट्रीटमेंट पर्पस हम उसको रिपोर्ट दे सकते हैं, लेकिन वो नया केस नहीं कर पाते हम सोच में। सही है ना?
ठीक है मैडम, नोट कर लिया है, सोच के सारे क्वेश्चंस नोट कर लिए हैं।
ये तो
और
इम्पोर्टेंट है सर, क्योंकि बहुत सारे पेशेंट्स विदाउट रिकॉर्ड के हमारे पास आएंगे, बहुत पेशेंट आएंगे, लेकिन हम उसको नया केस नहीं बना पाएंगे ना।
हाँ नहीं ठीक है, तो इसका आपको डिलीट का या एडिट का भी चाहिए था ना, वो ऑप्शन पहले भी किसी ने
हाँ,
पूछा था।
उसमें डुप्लीकेट बोल के एक ऑप्शन चाहिए सर, क्योंकि हम उधर मेंशन कर पाते हैं उसको।
Correction option is
नहीं,
there
नहीं।
means very nice.
हाँ सर, उसमें एक डुप्लीकेट बोल के एक ऑप्शन एंट्री किए तो हमको ये करने के लिए बेहतर होगा।
ठीक है मैडम, वो नाको को बता देंगे।
हाँ सर, थैंक यू सो मच।
सोच रिलेटेड कोई भी क्वेश्चन, वापस से बोल रहा हूँ, सुजीत ने बताया है, सोच का रिलेटेड कोई भी क्वेश्चन होगा तो आप अपने सोच के हेल्पलाइन पे या ईमेल पे आप कांटेक्ट कर सकते हैं, या आप अपने सैक्स के नोडल ऑफिसर को भी बोल सकते हैं। ऑल्दो आपके सारे क्वेश्चंस हमने नोट किए हैं और नाको को बता देंगे।
थैंक यू सर।
Thank you. I think Anushri, we can end because these are all questions related to Soch, so we can.
Yes, sure.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Yeah, madam. Yes.
Sir, I'm Jyoti from Karnataka, Balkot district. Sir, hello.
Yes, please continue.
Sir, totally today more doubts and questions are in Soch entry. Please arrange the effective Soch training another time or next time. It is very essential and important. Please kindly request, sir. I have more totally problems and doubts.
The South
Please,
regional training has already happened in for the master trainers has happened in Chennai, and the down trainings will happen very soon.
Not clear.
हेलो श्रीनिवास सर।
Yes.
सर एक क्वेश्चन सर, अभी हम लोग प्री टेस्ट में कंसेंट लेते थे सर, अभी जो आप स्लाइड में बताए कि पॉजिटिव होने के बाद कंसेंट लेना है, हो सकता है?
पॉजिटिव होने के बाद नहीं, दिस इज अ वेरी गुड क्वेश्चन। पॉजिटिव होने के बाद में जो पार्टनर टेस्टिंग होता है, वो पार्टनर को कांटेक्ट करने के लिए हम कंसेंट लेते हैं, एंड पार्टिसिपेशन इन द पार्टनर टेस्टिंग, इंडेक्स टेस्टिंग, उसके लिए कंसेंट होता है। So once we have taken the initial pre-test counseling के बाद में we take the consent for HIV testing, उसके बाद में जो भी positive आता है, to contact their partners or to ask them if they are willing to contact their partners, that is another consent. The second consent is only because of the act for protection of PLHIV. Tomorrow, no PLHIV should say that my partner has been contacted or I have been forced to tell my partner by the counselor. That is why we take this second consent.
Right. So in the chat box, we have another question regarding shortage of computers. So we've noted these questions and we will be passing these on to NACO, and you can also share these with your nodal officer. Only DBS cases not possible to enter in follow-ups. Edit option in Soch help desk.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes.
I have one question, ma'am.
Yes, please.
हाँ, अभी 2002 पे रिकॉर्ड है सर। हेलो।
हाँ जी बोलिए।
हाँ, वो 2002 पे रिकॉर्डिंग है सर। ये रहने के लिए रूम भी नहीं था, वो क्या करने का? वो 2002 पे ऐसा वो PID नंबर, प्री टेस्ट काउंसलिंग का रजिस्टर है, वो पॉजिटिव चाहिए, वो नहीं चाहिए ना?
So are you saying that जो registered 2002 का है, उसका सोच में एंट्री कैसे करना है, वो पूछ रहे हैं क्या?
नहीं सर, सोच का नहीं है।
हाँ,
वो कंडम करने के आते क्या, मैं पूछ रही हूँ सर आपको।
अच्छा, 2002 का रजिस्टर्स का क्या करना है, वो पूछ रहे हैं क्या?
हाँ सर।
Sujit, is there anything on the destroying the records and registers of the ICTC? There is data of 2002 or registers of 2002?
Hello, am I audible? Hello?
Yes,
Yes,
you're
Sujit,
audible.
you are audible. Yes.
Am I audible? So there is no such regulations provided from the NACO. Let me check it. Otherwise, if it is there, I will intimate you. Okay.
मैडम सुजीत का बोलना है नैको में ऐसा कोई रेगुलेशन नहीं है, पर वो चेक करके सारे आईसीटीसी को बताएंगे अगर कुछ होता है तो।
वो तो रूम पे नहीं था।
नहीं, आपका स्टैंड अलोन आईसीटीसी है क्या एफआईसीटीसी है?
स्टैंड अलोन
सर हम लोगों का स्टैंड अलोन आईसीटीसी है, लेकिन ये इतना बहुत है ना, तो हम लोग रख भी नहीं सकते। रूम तो छोटा छोटा।
सुजीत का वही बोलना था, सुजीत वही बता रहे थे, उनका नेटवर्क का थोड़ा प्रॉब्लम है। सुजीत वही बता रहे थे कि नैको में ऐसा कोई रेगुलेशन नहीं है कितने साल तक रखना है, लेकिन वो चेक करके बताएंगे।
ठीक है सर।
Anushri, I think now we can close the call.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I thank Dr. Sujit, Dr. Hanumantarayappa, and Mr. Srinivas from ITEC for facilitating this counseling session, and I thank everybody, all the participants. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
I request
Thank you.